One of the things I spoke about earlier was hazardous area classification. How often will the material be present and how far out will it come? DSEAR Regulation 7 says places where explosive atmospheres may occur are classified into hazardous and non-hazardous areas. Hazardous areas must be given zonal classification, and Schedule 2 gives the definition of hazardous and the zonal definition. And I'll just run over hazardous. Special precautions are needed to protect the health and safety of workers, and that's the bottom line. Within hazardous areas, special precautions must be applied, and you shouldn't just walk through them unless you're given permission. Area classification assesses the probability of flammable atmospheres occurring. It doesn't tell you how violent the explosion will be. It doesn't tell you how easy it is to ignite the products. It just tells you the probability that flammable atmospheres could occur. Once you've done this, then ignition sources can prevent this. But area classification does not specify the equipment. Area classification doesn't look into consequences. These are part of the general safety considerations. So, five stages of hack. Firstly, obtain data on your products to find out if they are flammable, how easy are they to ignite, and what is the type of explosion violence, and have you got isolation in place? Identify the sources of release. Have you got leaky gaskets? Can they leak through pipework? Have you got isolation or not? Have you got leaking explosion vents or panels? Once you've found out the sources of release, assign the grade of release. Are they most of the time, some of the time, or very, very little? And then assign zonal classification and the extent of the zone. Try to be realistic about the extents and the classifications. Don't overzone. Blanket zoning, I'm not a great lover of this because it's not giving you an idea where the zone 0, 20s are, 20, 21 or 1s, 2s or 22s. So try to stay away from blanket zoning. When you've done it, record, document it, produce drawings, and don't forget the drawings must have an assessment with them, and then review every so often. So the data, MEC, LIT, MIT, etc., powder bulk density, does it fall? Does it float up? Particle size distribution, is it below 500 micron? Do you know the pressure and operating temperatures, the run times, throughput rates, etc. of your equipment? Identify release sources. So you need SOPs, facility plans, P&IDs, process flow sheets, experience operators and site visits. Identify potential release mechanisms. Leakages are quite a common one, and often spillages as well, especially when you're filling the equipment up on areas where you're tipping stations, for instance, or you're adding a liquid or a gas. Is the grade continuous or for long periods or frequently? Does it happen occasionally during normal operation? Or secondary grades, not in normal operation, only infrequently and for very short periods? To give you some sort of clue, everybody likes numbers. So here you are. This is for dusts. Continuous, greater than 1,000 hours a year. Can be not a lot. Primary, zone 21s, 10 to 1,000 hours a year. 10 hours a year is not a lot. And secondary is where most of them you want to be in. is less than 10 hours a year, zone 22. So normal operation includes expected abnormal or non-catastrophic events as well. Define the zone and extent. Does fume cupboard type door minimize dust propagation effectively? People leave them open. Do any internal mixing blades cause further dispersion of the dust? Does all powder from rip and tip enter the system, or is it spilt? Is powder spilt when moving sacks from the pallet to the tip point? What rate is the extraction removing powder from the unit? What concentration of dust is likely to be in the ducting? What happens if the extract system isn't on? Will the dust cloud form exterior to the unit? How far will it disperse? Will using multiple powders in one station create issues? Record, document, and review. The drawings have to be to scale, and you have to produce a plan and side elevations. Typical drawings are zone 20, 21, 22 on the right. Notes to accompany the drawings should justification for assign release grades, explanation of why the zones are a certain size, assessment of dust dispersion from all release sources, what engineering measures are in place, ventilation, inerting, etc. What are your operational and maintenance activities, and do you have housekeeping programs in place? Record, document, and review here. So you can see these two drawings, the zones don't change an awful lot. You're lifting up the vessel onto the top to drop down in and to be contained by a screw, moved by a screw conveyor. So here you've got diaphragm valve, hydraulic cylinders, screw conveyor, hopper, drum platform, wall, drum, and floor. So you can see here, even though the equipment, the vessel has been lifted on top, you keep the drawing to be the same for both cases. So review of HACC and associated documentation is required for new installations, during design, installation, and commissioning stages, modifications that you may do to installations or areas, and at a specified frequency. Often I say to people less than 2 years, but you may find that you're very good at housekeeping, you're very good at maintenance, your system hasn't changed in years, and therefore you could increase that review time. Don't forget, if you find any modifications, the drawings have to be changed as well and listed as modification 1, 2, 3, etc.